Wow, that's daunting. All right, so we know there's game 5 tonight, so I know people want to watch the Jazz game, so we're gonna get rolling. Welcome to the Sugar House Community Council meeting. Thanks for taking the time tonight. Thanks for all the new people who are on here tonight. We will put in our chat our Sugar House Community Council newsletter for those that are interested in signing up for it. Brandon, do you mind? All questions will be taken in the chat tonight. Zoom bombing is still kind of a thing going around community council, so we try to have some restrictions. And Brandon mentioned that we're going to try Facebook Live tonight. Just a reminder, we're volunteer based. We're doing our best to support the entire Sugar House community. Couple things. So I wanted to notify the Sugar House Community Council that we received a letter from residents who live along the Sugar House portion of Highland Drive regarding their concerns with the ongoing local link study of Highland Drive. We're referring that letter to our Transportation Committee, which is headed by Levi Thatcher, which is the subunit of the Community Council, which is best equipped to work with these community members. And he'll allocate some time for you guys. Some other announcements. Mark Isaac won't be here tonight. He'll be here in July. They're just finishing the renderings of the Snow Groves property. Friends of Fairmont is having a tree care event from 9 to 11 a.m. on June 19th at Fairmont Park. And then we are having a Monument Plaza planting June 8th, 11 to 1. Everyone is welcome. Let's go to the secretary report. Devin?
Hi. It's from last month. Should be available. I don't have the link on me right now, but if anyone needs them, let me know. And then the minutes from the last meeting, we'll do the same thing we've been doing, approve them at the next meeting. And then I did have a update from Senator Iwamoto asked me to just pass along a couple of things to folks. She wishes that she could be here tonight, but she said she had 3 meetings that got scheduled at the exact same time. And just wanted to let folks know that the special session just wrapped up. She had an update about the appropriations from the American Rescue Plan Act, and just wanted to note that out of the 1.7 billion, about half will be available this May, and about half will be available next May. They're trying to spend the money on kind of one-shot infrastructure projects. So that way, in the 3 years required by the American Rescue Act, there's not continued funding that has to continue to be provided by the state of Utah. She also gave a quick breakdown of where the townships and cities in her district, how much money they received from it. So Salt Lake City received 87.48 million, Mill Creek received 6.83 million, Murray received 5.46 million, and Holiday received 3.382 million. She also wanted to note the passage and sponsorship of SCR 101, which is a concurrent resolution honoring Asian and Pacific Islander communities, in the hopes of raising awareness about hate crimes against members in the AAPI community, and also helping establish more of a presence and support for members of the community in Utah. And then the extraordinary sessions called the legislature. She just wanted to let people know about the Senate resolution on critical race theory in public education, and the fact that the Senate, so she had mentioned that the House Democrats did not participate in any of it. The Senate Democrats stayed and debated and raised some important concerns about the bill. And also she wanted to let folks know about the Senate resolution declaring support for Second Amendment, and the Senate's unwillingness to recognize any future federal gun laws. And then aside from that, just vaccine rollout information. That her newsletter goes way more into depth than all of these things. I will Make sure the minutes for this month also include information about how to sign up for the newsletter. So if you are in Senator Iwamoto's district, you can get that information. So I think that's everything from both me and Senator Iwamoto.
Thanks, Devin. Mike Bagley's at the fire station tonight, so he sent me the numbers for our bank balance. We're at $15,333. We have $315 in PayPal with $150 in donations for the Mural project. We'll talk about that in a little while. And then the community council decided to apply. Well, we donated $2,000 to this Mural project, which is going to be awesome. So let's go to Tim Cosgrove. Go ahead, Tim.
Hi, Landon. Thanks for having me. First off, I just want to say, we started off a project with Sugar House Community Council that was brought to our attention from civil enforcement. The mayor's office has a CAT team it's a community action team, where it's multi-jurisdictional, multi-dimensional, and we work to solve problems that we identify in the city. Usually there are issues regarding quality of life issues. Well, we had a resident, an issue that came to our attention where a resident in Sugar House was going to be facing fines for outdoor storage and site violations in our city ordinances for blocking a corner on a block on a street for vision of sight when vehicles are trying to drive around the corner. And we reached out to the resident. It's a little old lady, about 79, maybe between 70 and 80 years old. And she was just overwhelmed, and things had gotten out of control in her yard. She's single, trying to stay on top of things. And so I brought this to Landon's attention and reached out to the community council. She was going to be facing fines starting May 14th. And he was able to put us in touch with Keller Williams Real Estate. And I'd asked them to help us arrange some volunteers that could possibly do some work in this resident's yard. And Shad Selmos and Erica Williams were able to pull together 50 volunteers. I kid you not, 50 volunteers. And just saying it, I get chills and goosebumps. I'm just amazed that you all are so caring and compassionate in your community to step up and say, what can I do? And somebody's struggling, to help them out. And it's just I can't tell you the mayor's gratitude and my gratitude for your community council for leading the way in our city and showing others how to do it. But with Shad and Erica's support and Landon's and all the volunteers we had there that day, we were able to create a partnership with civil enforcement and Department of Sustainability, where they were able to come pick up and collect all the yard waste that was left from the cleanup. And I was there. I have a lot of photos that I took. I'll share with Landon, and maybe he can share that in the next newsletter. And we also, I know the mayor's going to do a more formal letter of appreciation. But just to give you an idea, this yard had some pyracantha. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but they have these 2-inch to 3-inch long thorns. And these bushes grow about 2 feet every year. And we had some that were 10 to 13 feet tall. And I mean, we were standing on ladders to reach them and cut through this pyracantha that had just taken over her yard. It was incredible. But we couldn't have done it without all of Erica's and Shad's support in organizing the volunteers for this. effort. And I just have to say thank you all again for the way you run your community council, and the members in the community stand up and watch out for each other. So I just wanted to share that story. I also, as a result, the mayor's also initiated a volunteer corps that Haley Leak in our office and the mayor's office will be directing and managing. She's actually already started a new volunteer effort for 65 individuals who are ready for permanent housing. These are individuals that have experienced long-term homelessness. And so we're putting the word out, and what Haley's put together and asked to do is to build kitchen kits for these individuals. There's first time getting a home for a long time. So, you know, it takes utensils, gently used kitchen items that we can assemble into these kitchen kits. And I'll put the link to the information in the chat, but for June 12th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., we're asking people to drop off gently used or new kitchen items that we can use to build these kitchen kits. The individuals will be moving into a new home at the Magnolia on 165 South 300 East. And anybody that wants to volunteer to register can help out with that as well. We're just asking for people to drop off those items on June 12th at 165 South 300 East, and I'll put that link in the chat. That's kind of some of the main things I wanted to share, Landon, but I'm open to any other questions or issues that I can try to address.
Tim, do you mind putting your info in the chat and people can ask you questions that way?
Sure, you bet.
I'm gonna unmute Erica to talk about it as well. Go ahead, Erica.
Well, it was really an honor to take part in that event and that cleanup. I was just so happy with the turnout that we had when we put out the word of this lady's need. My office is, the reason I'm there is because of their commitment to community service. So I can't say I was shocked, but I sure was overjoyed to see how many people turned out. And what really was nice is the support from the city, the fact that this was a cooperative effort, that just the call to haul portion of this, you cannot possibly fathom how big of a deal that is, because we've done these before on our own, and we've had 2 and 3 dumpsters that we've had to have coordinate where they come in, grab one, take it, replace it, all in the course of a day. So it's really hard to get the companies to do that. So the fact that the city initiated this and was, and supported it with call to haul, and also seeing the follow-up afterwards that even code enforcement saying, this case is closed. This she's good. No more problems here. It really felt like such a team effort. It was awesome.
You want to introduce our next guest?
I would love to. So continuing on the theme of community service, we have Anthony here, who is a student at Westminster and also a talented videographer and a producer who joined us all semester as part of an internship with the Sugar House Strong project to film local businesses in Sugar House, help them get the word out and their stories out to the public, which we then sponsored on Facebook and put Brandon Hill's marketing prowess behind those to really make a difference for these businesses. So tonight we have Anthony here, and I just, again, so much gratitude that we have someone. He went way beyond his internship requirements and just kept giving and giving. So huge thank you to Anthony. Is he?
Yeah, he's unmuted. Go ahead, Anthony. You want to say a few words?
Can't hear you yet, buddy.
Can you hear me now?
There he is.
There. Okay. Thank you so much for that, Erica. And thank you, Landon and Brandon, for having me here. I see a few familiar faces in the room. I also invited my business partner, Austin Overmo, to be here tonight. I just wanted to be here to say thank you to the Sugar House Chamber for a great internship experience, and also to extend extend my services to the rest of the Sugar House community, because just because my internship is finished, I've still had such a great experience getting to know all of the different business owners and to really get in touch with the community here. And it's work that I've really enjoyed doing. And when Austin has tagged along on a couple of the shoots, I know that he's really enjoyed it as well. So yeah, I just wanted to say I have my own business, Wandering Productions, and we do videography and we do design work. And I absolutely love working with Sugar House businesses. So for anyone, Derek is here, who I've done some work with him and his folks at the Hive. And it was really been a great experience for us. So I wanted to extend that to everyone. Yeah. So we are Wandering Productions. Austin, you're on your phone, so I will handle getting the URL. But we are a videography and graphic design company. And yeah, I don't know. If anybody is interested in having design work done for your business, you can see some of the work we've done on our website, and you can also see the work that I've done for the last semester with Sugar House Strong.
And
Yeah.
this is a fledgling company, also a small business here in Sugar House that homegrown and has led with contributions. So just my input there after working with Anthony and his crew this last semester, and how much they've just given and given and given. If you do ever have a need, they also are a small business that's ready to start growing here too.
Thanks for everything, Anthony. It's a pleasure.
Hang on, Landon. I need to say my thank you, because I was too busy trying to let people in. Anthony, not only do you do great work, man, but it was an absolute pleasure working with you, and I hope to stay in touch with you through the years and see your business grow.
Yeah, thank you so much, Brandon. So yeah, all that to say, I'm still here, I'm still around, and I'm still very invested in the Sugar House community. So this is my introduction to start getting to know all of the rest of you.
Thanks, Anthony. Go ahead and put your contact info in the chat for us, would you?
Can do.
Thank you. Derek, let's do our Michael G. Spotlight on Business. Derek Williamson, you ready, Derek?
I am ready. And that was a great tie-in with Anthony and Austin, who I'm here to talk about our Kickstarter project for the Neighborhood Hive. And Anthony and Austin were the videographers and designers and went through all of the different hoops that we needed. And they did a fantastic job, very professional. I also see that Jamaica Trineman is on here. She's one of our business partners at the Neighborhood Hive. If you don't know about the Neighborhood Hive, we have taken signed a lease for the old 21st Yoga space up there on 2065 East, 2100 South. And we've already started demolition. You might have seen the dumpsters and the demo crews out there. We're looking and shooting for an August open. In the meantime, we're here to raise a whole bunch of money. We launch a Kickstarter on Friday. We'd like to invite everybody out to the parking lot Friday from 3 to 7, where we'll kick off the Kickstarter program, show everybody the building, and kind of show you what we've done so far and what our plans are. It is 3 small local businesses that have teamed up with 5 individual partners to create the Neighborhood Hive. which is an open market concept containing oleo, skin, and beard. Hello Bulk Market, which is a package-free, eco-friendly shopping experience. And the Beanhole Coffee, who everybody is very familiar with on Saturdays up in the East Sugar House neighborhood. We're going to also have a commercial kitchen, so other small businesses can come in and start their own business and sell. We're going to teach them all the entrepreneur stuff to go with it, plus the community classes and the community engagement that we're going to have there. Concerts in the parking lot, food truck rallies, little mini farmers markets. So we'd love to have everybody's support. I'm going to put a link in the chat right now to our Kickstarter. You can see the video that Anthony produced and created for us. And I appreciate the time, and we know how supportive the Sugar House Community Council and everybody around here is.
Thanks, Derek. See you Friday. Are you going to be selling your Pride soaps?
Well, since us and the Beanhole had to be out of our buildings on Monday, we are homeless. So that is a good point. Saturdays, we are going to have pickups in the new parking lot at 2065 East, 2100 South. So if you go to our website, if you go to the Beanhole's website, you can place your orders where we do have our Pride sets. And we will have your order ready for pickup between 8 and noon in the new parking lot. We're going to have other local vendors out there joining us. Father's Day weekend is going to be a huge celebration out there with food trucks and all kinds of fun stuff. So keep an eye on us.
Thank you. All right, Detective, are you ready?
I'm ready. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Detective Meinzer. I'm the Liberty Division Community Liaison Officer. I wanted to real quick kind of talk about stats and then a short little bit about how I can get support from the community, how you guys can better support Salt Lake City. So first, I kind of wanted to go into detail about our top 5 for the month of May. So our top 5 calls that we had in District 7, there were 28 car prowls, and those are reported car prowls that ended up in a police report written. There were 26 shoplifting incidents. As you are all very aware, there's a lot of businesses that we have in our district here. We had 23 minor traffic accidents, and we had 19 hit and run traffic accidents. One thing for those hit and runs, please, if you guys see a vehicle hit another vehicle and leave, please do call us and report that, and try and write down a plate if you can. That'd be very helpful. And then we had 14 cases where credit cards were used illegally, where someone had credit cards taken and used. So if you want to go into more detail about the crime stats, it actually is online, and I will post a link in the chat. And if you go and look up, you can look up anywhere in the city that you like, and it can go into lots of detail or little detail, and you're always welcome to call, email, or text me if you have questions about those stats. I did want to talk about bicycle registration. So I love riding my bicycle, and I know that a lot of you guys do too. So one thing to keep in mind is we do have bike thefts throughout the city. And the first thing that officers do when we see someone with a bike, if we're stopping someone, we will run serial numbers. And a lot of the time we'll see a bike that is a very expensive bike that might be with someone that it doesn't belong, but it does not show up as stolen. And one thing that we've identified is a lot of people don't know what their serial number is for their bike. And I don't even know mine, but I registered mine so that we would know. So I will put the link in the chat. And if you have time at some point, please register your bike. That way, if it does get stolen, we can prove that it is your bike and get it back to you. So that kind of leads me into the next part of my section, which is how to be good partners with Salt Lake City Police Department. So as a lot of people are aware, we're kind of down on numbers right now. And so I'm kind of trying to help identify ways that we can get help from the community. So there are 3 different ways that you can reach out to us. And I kind of have given some examples of when and how to reach out. So the first one I wanted to talk about is calling our non-emergency number. So I will put the number in the chat. Our non-emergency number gets you to our dispatchers. And that is going to be something like if you see suspicious activity. So if you see someone in your neighborhood and they are looking in like windows to houses or doors, or they're going on someone's porch or picking up items off the porch, those are suspicious behaviors. And those are something that would be very good if you could reach out to us and inform us about. So when you call the number, I put it in the chat right now. you'll get to talk to a dispatcher and you'll kind of have questions that you're asked, but also try and keep in mind what we're looking for is we want to know description of the person, specifically clothing description. That's very helpful. And shoes are very hard to change. So if you always remember what shoes they're wearing, that is actually really helpful. The next one is the most important of it all. What was the behavior that they were doing that made you call? So we're not looking for, someone just is kind of walking down the sidewalk and they look kind of weird. That's not necessarily very fair to that person. And that's not necessarily something that we could really respond to and deal with. But as I mentioned, if they're doing something like looking in car door windows, if they're trying door handles, going up to homes, things like that, that is good. Yep, Cabot, thank you. Yes. So option 7 is to get you straight to dispatch. And then the last thing is try and remember when you last saw them, like a time and where they were at. And then if they left, give us where they went. And it can be as simple as, I last saw them 5 minutes ago and they were headed westbound. Even that is beautiful. So the next way that you can report things to us is online. So this is something that a lot of people don't know about. We have a pretty robust system when it comes to online reporting. And right now we do, as I explained, we do have a lot of car prowls. So there's a lot of car prowls that go unreported. And a lot of people think, they got, 5 cents out of the cup. Like they didn't really get anything. They just kind of rummaged my car. Well, modern day policing is very focused on stats. And it really helps us identify when we would send officers to other areas. So if we have a lot of issues happening in a neighborhood, it helps us know, okay, well, we need to do something to try and counter that. So our proactive approach is trying to predict where it's going. And that is kind of looking at the trends and seeing what's going on and trying to go and deal with that. Lori reported graffiti in Hidden Hollow. Did you use the SLC mobile app? If you could reply in the chat for me. So I posted the link online. And what you do is report your car prowl or other small crimes that you don't necessarily need an officer to come to right away. And you basically would write a little report of your own. You say when and where it happened, what was taken, kind of give a description of, okay, the car was rummaged through. I don't think anything was taken. And that helps us put that pin on the map and give us that data point. And then lastly, 911. So this is something that is typically reserved for like life safety issue, or if you see active crime in progress, if you see a fight, or you see someone that was hit by a vehicle and you think someone's injured, or you think, maybe we need fire response or medical response, please call 911. Don't hesitate. Now, here's an important thing to think, though, when you are calling 911. So try to remain calm. I know it can be very stressful because whatever you just witnessed could be a very stressful event. Try to remain calm and try and answer questions precisely because there's going to be a set bunch of questions that they'll ask depending on what occurred. And then a key point to this is if you're a witness in a crime, good witnesses really do help solve cases. So don't hesitate to call. And, and if you're like, I don't know if I should call 911 versus non-emergency. If you call non-emergency, on average, you'll get through very quickly. But if it's kind of a question or not, just go with your gut. If you happen to call 911 and it ends up being something that's not as super big of a deal, it's okay. I don't expect everyone to know when to call 911 or when to call a non-emergency, because sometimes it's a very big deal to you. And if it's that big of a deal, don't hesitate. Okay. And then I will post my information in the chat real fast. I cover districts 5, 6, and 7. I have my email address and my work phone as well as my cell phone. And I will real quick kind of talk about, since we mentioned that graffiti. So the SLC mobile app is really good for reporting graffiti. I actually had a neighborhood in District 6. They had a retainer wall on private property that got spray painted. I reached out to the gentleman who's in charge of the graffiti cleanup and I sent him the photos. They went out that day and they cleaned it up. And it was on someone's private property and the city took care of it for them. So SLC mobile app is super awesome. And if you have any questions, please hit me up in the chat. I'll be hanging out for a little while and answer from there.
Thanks, Detective. Thank you. Well done. All right, Bill, you ready for a construction update?
I think I am.
Gotta
Yeah.
quit muting yourself.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm working on that. Are you all there?
Yeah, go ahead.
It took me a long time to get here, Brandon. Thank you, Brandon, for all your assistance, your tutoring, your tutelage, whatever. Okay, listen, I'm going to try to run through this, but it doesn't mean by any means that there's not a hell of a lot going on. There's everywhere you turn, right? A lot of orange stuff out there. Give you some updates, some good news, and some upcoming, maybe not as good news, but the Boulder Ventures project on McClellan, in his words, 30 heads in beds. So that is to say that the place is getting rented up. It's actually occupied. That is to say phase one. That's on the east side of the large building. He says that by the end of this summer, the rest of the building will be open. And I guess we could all say none too soon, but he's working diligently at getting stuff cleaned up and getting off the road where they're supposed to be off of Sugarmont here in the next 3 weeks, I guess now. And then everything else will be going on inside. Another project on that same street, the Dixon Place development, that is also open for business, and they have, he said they're having great response. So I don't know a specific number there, but I'm actually going to be visiting the place again next week. But the Dixon Place low development is doing well, and by most accounts, a very handsome addition to McClellan. Everybody's that I've talked to anyway, agreeing that it's a beautiful building. And on the apartment front, the apartments over next to the University Hospital, or University Clinic, in the office building there. So the 100 plus apartments are supposed to be open by the end of the year. So that is to say, we're coming down the home stretch for at least this phase of the apartment stuff. Some of the one really critical piece of information is the Canal project on Highland Drive. Word has it that we'll be seeing paving by the end of the week or early next week. And that's just been a very difficult project, as most of you that drive through the area know. And as usual, when you start digging down that deep, you find interesting stuff. So it's taken longer than was originally planned, but they are getting it put back into place. I got a nice comment, which is, I gotta say, because they're not all that frequent. So we did get a property owner down there that was the Bruges and in that building. So he commented that they're doing a great job replacing the landscape and putting things back together for him. So he's been working with Natalie Moore on that, and he had kudos to pass along. So they do stuff right. All right, so it's getting done, and they'll be out of there probably in the next week or so. That now being said, the project that is set for the northern part of the street, that is actually just south of 21st South, about 2150. The Hawklight project that has been waiting for the Canal project to finish will be starting up, and that is nowhere near as invasive or long. So it could take 2 to 3 weeks, and there will be maybe some lane restrictions as they cross the street with the some of the power stuff to connect to the crosswalk, but it won't be all that invasive, and it'll be a real nice addition to the neighborhood. Most of you know also the freeway construction is kicking off. That's getting to be pretty official, so we'll have a long this summer and another summer ahead of us, and I think that's about what that is. Most of the action right now is on 900 East, right? So they're going to be closing northbound 9th East between 21st South and Hollywood, starting Friday for about 3 days. And if you want to get to Hollywood or anywhere north of that, you will want to go around the other way on 11th East or 7th East, and coming back from 17th South, as I had to do the other day. So it's going to be very busy. They're taking railroad ties up off of that side of the road. That's something we run into on just about every north-south street that we tear up, and some of the larger east-west ones for that matter, railroad ties from the old streetcar days. On top of that, there will be a closure starting next week between Ashton and just south of the freeway overpass, just south of the golf course, Forestdale, while a utility project crosses the road there. So 9th East is going to be a good place to not be for the next couple of weeks. So if you can get around, just know it's there. And obviously people that live there are getting instructions, and engineering and utility folks are keeping them pretty well informed as to how to get back home at night when they leave, after they leave in the morning and the road's all torn up. So that is getting put back over the course of this summer, but it'll be, again, a very busy summer. And I'll just finish by saying, remember, in terms of keeping your temperature and your aggravation level down, that when you see all this orange stuff around, it's really green, all right? A lot of people working, a lot of things, people getting paid money to go out and buy stuff in the businesses and keep the economy going. That's what I do to myself. So I'm helping you while I help myself, because I get just as aggravated. I have to drive it multiple times a week, and it starts to get on my nerves once in a while. So this is what you have to tell yourself. It really is good. And this infrastructure, a lot of this work is infrastructure. It's the obvious. It's 100 years plus old. It needs to get replaced. It needs to get updated. And we're living in the city. So that kind of comes with the territory, and we'll all get through it. But if we can keep informed ahead of time and knowing where to not go and where to go, a lot of these businesses will still be, we make a big point of keeping them accessible and keeping the driveways open for you to get in and out of there. And they do need your support during these times. Don't drive away somewhere else. So that's my little speech for the night. And if there's any questions, obviously on the chat, or Landon knows how to find me. Landon and Brandon.
Thanks.
That's what I got. There you go.
Thank you. We'll put that on a poster. Thanks. Let's have, next we're going to have the Director of Public Utilities, Laura Briefer, talk.
Thanks, Landon, and thanks, everybody. It's good to see you all. I love coming to this community council. See a lot of familiar faces here as well. I have just a few updates for everyone. One of the biggest ones is our current drought, and Landon and I chatted about bringing an update to you about that. As you may have heard, Mayor Mendenhall first declared a stage 1 response in March for our water shortage contingency plan, and then upped it a little bit just last week to a stage 2 response. Salt Lake City has a water shortage plan where we constantly monitor our sources of drinking water, and we monitor the demand on our drinking water system, and we address whether or not we need to further manage water supply and demand as the season progresses. You've probably seen in the newspaper, we have a probable record-setting drought this summer. And you see it in our stream flows. The mountain streams where we receive our water, from City Creek Canyon to the north to Little Cottonwood Creek to the south, are ranging between 34 and 52% of average yield. The inflow into Deer Creek Reservoir is less than normal, and we rely on that storage for drought years and for high demand season. Our groundwater supplies are good, and we'll continue to rely on those this summer. But we're also seeing some uptick in demand given the warmer weather and the earlier start to the irrigation season. And so in our stage 2 response, we have some mandatory requirements that are being placed on government facilities. So that includes like municipal facilities, parks, golf courses, state facilities, schools. And those responses include meeting certain target restrictions in terms of their water use. So meeting a target goal with respect to outdoor water use, as well as time of day watering. So not watering between the times of 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. And so we will work through that, and we'll continue to assess whether we need to go into more significant water restrictions. We don't think we'll need to, because people are starting to do a good job of voluntarily reducing water use, but we'll still evaluate as we go through the summer. We have a total of 5 stages in our water shortage contingency plan. And as I mentioned, we're on stage 2. More mandatory restrictions for residents and businesses start in stage 4. So we've got some ways to go before that might be implemented, but we'll continue to monitor that situation. We've got a lot of water conservation information and drought information on our website, and I just posted a number of links to our website that would be helpful. Our water conservation website has both information about our drought response, as well as things that you can do to conserve water at your home or business or workplace. So I highly recommend visiting that and learning. And then our water conservation manager, Stephanie Dewar, is a wealth of information, and she responds to emails and phone calls, and her information is on our website as well. So that's one update. I have 2 other items to update you on. One is construction, and Bill touched on that a little bit for me earlier. One is the Jordan and Salt Lake Canal work on 11th East. The pipe in that canal is in, and it's currently conveying water, which is great. We need that during the irrigation season. We plan to restore pavement on Friday, so June 4th, and then we'll be working on restoring the sidewalk and landscape next week. One note on that, our project engineer had some really nice things to say about the community and all of your patience and how great it's been to work with the community council on this project. She just has been having a great experience with all of you. So thank you so much for working with us on that one. The other project also, I think, was briefly mentioned, and this is part of our east-west conveyance pipeline. It's a large diameter pipeline that we're constructing from the water tanks over near I-215 and 33rd South. That ultimately will go into downtown Salt Lake City. The pipeline brings another source of water to our growing city. It's a master plan project. It's a large diameter pipeline. And for that project, we've sent out some mailers to the community. It's with respect to a 900 East roadway closure for the project. Construction activities for that project are going to start on June 7th, I believe. Yes, June 7th. And it'll be a 2-week closure, 100 East from Ashton Avenue to just south of Forestdale Golf Course. And we have some information about alternative routes that people can take during that time. In addition, pedestrian and bike crossings under I-80 will be restricted for the duration of that project. So also try to plan ahead for bicycle and pedestrian crossings there. And the final item I wanted to mention is regarding our Watershed Stewardship program. And I see Councilmember Fowler is here too. We conducted a press conference last week to relaunch our Keep It Pure program. which is our public education program to educate people about activities and stewardship within the watersheds that provide our drinking water. So again, that's from City Creek to the north to Little Cottonwood Canyon to the south. We have some rules that we want to make sure that the public understands with respect to swimming or dogs in those watersheds, but also just a general ethic of, knowing where your water comes from and knowing that things that you do can make a difference to benefit clean water. And so we'll be rolling out a public engagement throughout the summer, really in anticipation of a high visitation season. We've noticed a lot more recreational visitation to our watersheds, and the result of that has been, a lot more need to do things like maintain restrooms or educate visitors to our watersheds about some of the restrictions that are in place. So we thought it was a good time for us to start reaching out to the public on those items. So those are the updates I have for everybody. And please, if there are questions, write them in the chat and we will address them. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Laura. Thanks for taking the time tonight. All right, Lynn. Actually, let's go to Lori Bray. Do you see her, Brandon? Lori, you want to do a mural update?
Yes. Sorry, let me grab my notes here. I don't want to leave anything out. I have too many windows open on my computer. So I think most of you know about the Sugar House Mural project. We've been working on it for a while now. Becky can't be here tonight because she's working. And so she asked me to give you guys an update. She has done a great deal to coordinate this, and she's done a terrific job. So we are excited to report that we have secured 3 mural walls with 3 fantastic artists to paint them. Cameron Wellness Center, so that it's their south wall that you can see from the post office parking lot. And Chris Peterson will be painting that. The Carumba, their west wall that you can see from Natural Grocers, and Bill Lewis will be painting that. And Sugar House Barbecue, Evan Jed will be painting that. So the artists are working with the business owners to design the murals that will be painted. They'll all be really different from each other. So the finished products will show a lot of diversity and really great beauty in our community. I'm super excited. It's been really fun to be on the selection committee. I think you will all love the final results. It's a great way to beautify our buildings, and it's a wonderful way to support the local businesses. So the community celebration will be held on August 13th in conjunction with the Sugar House Art Walk. There are bands scheduled to play on Monument Plaza. Slam will be playing. That's the Salt Lake Academy of Music, the young people that play, that Steve Auerbach operates. The Woolsey family is sponsoring a band at Tizante. And then we're talking about maybe hiring a band to be at Mural Sugar House Barbecue. We're still chatting about that. So we want this to be the most amazing community celebration ever. We haven't had a major event like this since the Big Backyard Bash, which was August of 2019. Landon and Maggie both secured grants that have helped fund the mural project and event. We've also had private donations, and business owners are chipping in, but we could use more help because we want it to be amazing. So our committee is asking every trustee who has not already donated, and some people have already donated, and thank you very much for doing that. So if you haven't, we're asking you to please consider donating $25. It's super easy to do, and we're a 501c3, so it's tax deductible. All you have to do is go to our website, click on donate, and in the note area, make sure you write that it's Mural Project. it's pretty faint and it's easy to miss, and I missed it. So I sent Mike Bagley an email after and said, make sure this goes to the mural project. We also have a need for 2 lifts for the artists. One for the Carumba wall, and that one can just go up and down. We're hoping not to have to cut into the artist budget to get a lift. So that's why we're reaching out to the community. I know there's some trustees who are asking around already. But the one for Cameron Wellness Center needs to have a crane lift because you can't get right up next to the wall. And it will have to be in the parking lot, and there's a parking strip or a grass strip right next to it. So if you have any resources that could help with these lifts, either reach out to Maggie, Landon, Erica, Brandon, or myself. Or just me.
Everybody. You want everybody to be reached out to.
Well, I mean, whoever you talk to the most often. Anyway, it's a super exciting project, and it's really going to make a big difference in our community. If you have any questions, just put them in the chat. Thanks.
Yeah. And the next Sugar House Art Walk is next Friday,
the
right?
next Sugar House Art Walk is this Friday, or excuse me, next Friday, June 11th. There will be live music on Monument Plaza that night also. Also Slam is doing that. And please come out and support the local artists. We have a couple new venues on there also. The Got Beauty Office and Upwall Design are going to have artists out front, and they're going to have a live artist painting. So that will be fun.
And 5 to 8, Lori?
No, this time it's 6 to 9.
Ooh, going late.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
It doesn't get dark till late, and it's so hot earlier, and people don't really come at 5 o'clock. They just don't.
Awesome.
Not in the
Thank you.
summer. Okay.
Yeah. All right, next we're gonna go with Lynn Jacobs and Matt Castle. You guys are both unmuted. If you want to introduce yourselves, go ahead.
Excellent. Hey, Brandon, could you allow me to share screen as well? I'd like to share a presentation. And then Matt, if you want to kind of introduce yourself and get going while we do that.
Well, thank you, Lynn. Thank you, everybody. My name is Matthew Castle, city engineer for Salt Lake City. And we're happy to have this opportunity to present to you some of the findings, some of the ideas that the University of Utah Civil Engineering Department Senior Capstone Project has developed over the last semester. There's a couple of reasons why we want to talk with you about what's going on with this project. There's 2 reasons. One, we want to start the dialogue about 21st South. It is a project that's coming. It starts, we're gearing for construction in 2025. And in about 6 months or so, maybe a little bit longer, we are going to start putting together, hiring a consultant to help us start developing a concept for 21st South. So we thought it'd be a good opportunity for us to have the students at the University of Utah to start looking at what might 21st South look like in the future. And the second thing that I want to make sure that everyone understands is we have not started this project yet. We've allowed the students to play around, to do whatever they want to do, to really think outside the box. I want to make sure everyone understands that as we go forward, that if you hear rumors that the city is all the way down the road, they've got things figured out, they're trying to do things, we have not started. What you're seeing is all we have. And it's nice to have students who are not bound by life experiences, to be able to think outside the box, put ideas on paper, and we can step back, look at them, think about them. But the real project is coming, and this is a nice way, we think, to really start thinking about what they might want 21st South to look like. So with that, I'm going to turn over to Lynn. He's going to go through some of the ideas that the students put together. And at the end, if you have questions or comments, we'd love to hear them. If not, if you think of them later, reach out to us. And we're really going to get going on this project. Actually, project will begin sometime in 2022. So Lynn.
Thanks, Matt. As he mentioned, tonight really what we're looking for from you is just to kind of share with you all these ideas that they've had. And more than anything, just let you know kind of what they're kicking around and what they're thinking of, but know that this is not really where we're going or what we're going to do. We'll have to figure that out starting next year. And we expect that concept design to take, up to 2 years to do. And so there's going to be a lot more times I'm here talking about 21st South and what can we do with this roadway. It's a huge opportunity for us to rebuild it in a few years, and we'll want to get your feedback. So I'm going to just share a few quick summary statistics that the students kind of came up with and a couple ideas they had. And what we really would like you all to do is, if you have ideas or if you have feedback on what I'm presenting, to email me after this meeting, and then we'll kind of take all that information and use it to figure out what we're going to have this same group of students do this fall. And then whatever they come up with, you know, we'll certainly not forget it when we get to our project next year, but you know, we still have a lot of work to do. So with that, couple statistics real quick that I want to jump into. We had our students actually do like 4 focus group areas. One focused on transit, one focused on bike, another on pedestrians, and last on emerging technologies. Right now, 2100 South is either 4 or 5 lanes if you look at different spots. And the area we're talking about is between 700 East to 1300 East. If you look at some statistics, our traffic volumes in that area are between 22 and 28,000 trips every day. So it carries a ton of people. And you know, what's really interesting is you go back about a decade, those volumes were almost the same, which is really kind of interesting to think about, especially considering all the development and density we've seen come up in Sugar House over the last 10 years. But you know, if you look back 10 years ago, same ranges. Our transit ridership, we currently carry between the Route 21 and the S line about 3,400 people east-west in this area every day. And go back about 10 years and that number was more like 2,000 people. So we've definitely increased our transit ridership over the last 10 years. But you know, I think you all know that density is just going crazy in Sugar House, and we've got a lot of trips. We still have a lot of work to do to figure out why we haven't seen a lot of growth on this roadway over the last decade. And that's certainly something we're going to be evaluating next year when we get into the deeper dive study. So ideas they came up with, and these are just ideas that they've thrown against the wall. One of the ideas is to convert the outside lanes on 21st South to what is called a business access transit lane, where that outside lane becomes focused on letting people make right turns in and out of driveways and at intersections, and then also carrying a lot more transit than what we currently do. A good example of this is down on North Temple by Third West. We actually have this already in the city. So an idea that they've kicked around is to just refocus that outside lane on transit. The next idea they had with the transit group was what's called a Q-jump lane. The idea here is that you actually widen right next to the intersection and give buses an opportunity to get around traffic and kind of jump in front at the signals. It's a little less invasive than full widening, but an idea that they've kicked around. Our bike group was looking at kind of different treatments on different part of the corridor. They thought west of McClellan, you could look at eliminating the turn lane and adding raised bike lanes. And then east of McClellan, they were thinking about eliminating a through lane in each direction. So going to a 3-lane roadway and then adding raised bike lanes and widening the sidewalk. They also thought, you know, maybe we could eliminate some park strips to add bike lanes. So that was one of the things that they were looking at. Our pedestrians were focused on how can we widen sidewalks and add pedestrian features. An interesting idea that they came up with is to actually narrow sidewalks on the north side of the road and widen sidewalks on the south side of the road so that you can focus on making one side of the street really pedestrian friendly. That terminology, it's called an offset sidewalk, where you kind of make one side of the street a lot more walkable than the other side. That way you can really enhance at least part of that street. Another idea is to, you know, go to that 3-lane cross section and add the bike lanes and at the same time widen sidewalks on both sides. So those were ideas that they came up with. Emerging technology looked at things like lighted crosswalks, vehicle to infrastructure communication. So having the buses actually communicate with the signals to get preferential treatment, lighting up the sidewalks a little bit more. Those were all ideas that they had. So with that, and I know we're short on time, I think, you know, in summary, this is not for our final decision on the roadway, just to give you all a flavor of thoughts that are floating around out there. But in reality, we can't have it all. Something's going to have to give. This roadway is very constrained, so you know you can't fit everything on this roadway. And at some point in the next couple of years, we're going to have to really buckle down and figure out what's really important to our community and what should we do with the right of way that we've got. And Matt, I'll go ahead and turn it back to you to kind of wrap up our conversation.
Well, thank you. I don't have a whole lot more to say. Again, Lynn, if you've got questions or concerns, please let us know. But I do want to reiterate, all these things here that we've listed: trees, parking, bike lanes, wider sidewalks, transit enhancements, park strips, yada, yada, yada. All of this stuff's not going to fit. And it's going to be a process of give and take. And what is most important to the Sugar House community? What do they feel and what do they want this street to look like? But they have to you all have to understand that there's going to be a give and take in this process. And we'd love to fit everything in there. We'd love this to be a nice, big, wide boulevard that has facilities for every single type of users, but we realize it's probably not going to happen. And we're going to need a lot of help trying to narrow down to what the best use of 21st South is going to be. That's all I have.
Anything else?
I would just say if I'll put my email address in the chat, and if you have thoughts or ideas about 21st South, go ahead and reach out to me now. I'm going to keep and record all these comments we get, and we'll carry them into the study that we start next year. And then, like I said, we'll have like a 2-year period that we're really engaging with you and doing a deep dive on what to do with this roadway, starting sometime next year and going for several years.
Thank you. We were honored to take part in this. It was cool to be back in school. So thanks. Next, we're going to go to Bill Bolte. So Maggie, as a trustee, has asked if Green Bike will come talk, and Ben looks like $1 million and is here to talk to us.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for having me. What a great intro. I need to take you on the road. Let's see. It says host has disabled attendee screen sharing. So I can pull up a PowerPoint thing if you guys enable me. All right, let's give that a try. Let's do allow.
It should be good now, Ben.
Okay. Giving it a try.
And it's okay. Everybody's used to delays now. Don't stress.
Okay, can you guys see the PowerPoint?
No.
No, okay. Let's try this version. Share screen. Please grant. Well, this is annoying. Okay.
Hey, Ben, the Jazz game's on, man.
Hey, sorry, dude. Please grant access to screen recording. Allow screen recording access and system setting. I don't know if there's somebody else that wants to go ahead of me. I can tinker with this and figure it out in hopefully the next 5 or 10 minutes or something.
All right, you okay with that? Let's go to Councilwoman Amy Fowler.
Oh, I'm
Are you
unmuted.
ready?
Hello.
You're unmuted.
Hear me?
Yep.
I got thumbs up. Hi, everyone. It's so good to see all of you virtually. Maybe one of these days we will be in person again. A couple of things really quick I wanted to say is I want to give a shout out to our city employees. Detective Meinsner I recognize how difficult your job has been over the last 18 months and probably before that. And I truly appreciate the things that you do for our community and the way that you are always engaged with our community, and really want to let you know that City Council has your back. We want to be able to support our community and our officers. So thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for being here. And thank you for always answering the emails and the texts and the calls. And that also goes to Laura Briefer, Matt Castle, and Lynn Jacobs. I live on 900 East. I'm sorry. My dog is panting. I live on 900 East, and every day that I exit my driveway, I curse the city. Ugh, I can't get into my driveway. I have to park somewhere else. I can't walk in these different directions that I want to go, and it's so inconvenient. And then I remember how important it is that the work that we're doing and that the city is doing. I recently was able to now park into my driveway, and now I get to see what is happening in our sidewalks and how we as a city are fulfilling our commitment to the Complete Streets master plan, and that we are looking at ways to make sure that people who are walking or biking or driving from Fairmont Park to Nibley School are safe, and that traffic is calmer, and that I can back out of my driveway without the worry of getting hit somewhere because somebody is going too fast on our road. And that is because of the work that our streets department and our transportation department and our public services department are doing. And so I want to give a huge shout out there. Another huge shout out to Lynn Jacobs regarding the Highland Drive local links study that no one has made a decision on. There has been 0 decisions made. It was a study, and there are a lot of concerns, and I recognize those concerns, and so does Matt and Lynn and everyone involved. And there will be a ton of community outreach before we are able to even make any sort of decision about what happens. The goal of the city is to be able to connect different parts of our city together in a way that we don't have to use our cars. I do have to say, as much as I cursed the city when I couldn't use my car going in and out of my driveway, it forced me to do something else. You know, walk, ride a bike, take different transit. I don't really have to go that far in Sugar House to get the things that I need. And so it was like, I'll just leave my car parked where it is and go, walk over there. Now, Laura, now I can't walk under the bridge because of the water line. But again, I recognize that a short inconvenience is for the better of our city, and I am grateful for it. I don't know if you all saw our press conference. Was it a week ago, Laura? I don't know, all the days blend, where we were reinitiating the Keep It Pure campaign, where we're trying to remind people that our watersheds are incredibly important to our health and safety. I mean, it is what we drink every time we turn on a faucet. And by the way, you don't need a Brita in Salt Lake City because of the stewardship that we have had for hundreds of years, and that Laura Briefer and her team continue to have within Salt Lake City. And so while we're all out there enjoying our mountains and our watersheds, please, please, please take a look at the campaign and the Keep It Pure campaign so that we can protect the water and the purity of the water. It has won contests. I say it every time that I talk about water. It has won national contests. But I, again, as I curse the city walking and not being able to walk under the viaduct because there's construction going on, I have to remember that the reason that we are doing it is so that we can provide that water to residents, to people throughout our city, to make sure that we don't ever have a situation where you can't turn on your faucet and have a glass of water. And I hope, I'm saying this because I live on 900. I see all of the construction that's happening, and there is so much construction happening in Sugar House. I mean, at this point, it feels like you can't even drive through the place, but maybe that means that we don't need to drive through it. And maybe there are other ways that we can get through it, and that all of the things that we are doing are actually the city hoping and trying to improve all of the resources that we are lucky to have as residents of Salt Lake City. And none of this would be possible without Laura and Matt and Lynn and Detective Meisner. So I know I kind of went on like an SLC love fest right there, but we're in the midst of the budget session, and they have all spent so much overtime and work and countless nights in making sure that what your taxpayer dollars are going for means something to you and means something to our residents. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank them for their hard work and the time that they spend caring about each and every one of you. And I mean that because I had a community meeting about what's happening on Highland, and I literally told people to email Lynn Jacobs, and I can't tell you how many emails Lynn has gotten and how many, each and every one of them, he has responded to. And that is the work of the city that you have in front of you. So I just, yes, SLC Love Fest right now. Thank you for that. Beyond that, we are in the midst of the budget. We anticipate voting on the budget and approving a balanced budget on June 15th. We have a council meeting, a work session meeting tomorrow from 2 to 5, and then we'll have council meetings on the 8th, maybe the 10th if we need it, and then the 15th to approve the budget. There's a lot of things within the budget, a lot of things. I think the mayor did an amazing job with her proposed budget. There are some things that council members are just looking at kind of tweaking a little bit. And we, again, will kind of work through all of those different budget aspects. CIP is one of the budgets, and I know, sorry, I'm gonna sneeze, is important to us. I didn't really see a lot of CIP constituent applications this year, but know that we will have the CIP hearings on July 13th, August 20th, and then we'll vote on August 24th. So if you're interested in the CIP budget at all, we are not voting on specific projects. We will vote with how much money is put into the CIP, but then the actual projects that are funded won't be voted on until August 24th. So keep that in mind. If there's something that is not in the mayor's proposed CIP budget, please reach out. and we can talk about that, of course. There's always more asks than there is money, unfortunately, but that is just sort of how the city works. And we do our best at getting to all of those projects, but obviously you guys know that reach out and we will do our best to advocate for what we need here in Sugar House. Something that has come up recently is the Boys and Girls Club and the tennis courts. And I know right before Mayor Biskupski left, there was an announcement of what had been intended. There was a lot that happened during 2020, obviously. Also, can I just point out that the saying hindsight is 2020 seems really relative right now. But I don't want to lose, and I don't want people to lose hope on the Boys and Girls Club and what we can do with the tennis courts and the Boys and Girls Club there. And Judy, I will follow up with you. Trying to think of other updates that I can't think of anything else other than the other thing I would think is the new sidewalk around Fairmont Park. I just got some new roller skates and skated around on the new sidewalk. It was great. I may have fallen, but that's fine. And encourage everybody to visit our parks. That is, unless there's questions, and I can answer those in the chat. I can't think of anything else.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Did Ben Bolte log off, Brandon?
No, he's back. He's got co-presenter. Oh no, now he's gone.
Okay.
He was
We may
here.
have to have him back next month unless he logs on here quick. I thought so. I'm gonna unmute Sheree to talk about Sprague Library. If anybody hasn't seen it yet, it is spectacular. Sheree, you okay to talk for a few minutes?
Yes, absolutely. We have had so many people come in and we're just so grateful to be back. I've watched as patrons have come in over the last month, and I honestly don't think anybody's had a negative thing to say about the remodel. In fact, a lot of the comments I overheard were that it was worth the wait. So that's really reassuring to hear. We just started our Super Summer Challenge. So it's a program that we do every summer to help with reading and growing and learning and doing things. And so if y'all haven't come in to sign up for that, bring your family, come in and do that. We're excited to have that. And on June 14th, we're going to go back to our expanded hours. So we're excited to get more computers and have longer hours. Our study rooms are now open. So if you're looking for a place to work, come on in. It is a beautiful library, and thank you so much for the support.
Thank you. Let's go. We're going to try Ben Bolte again. Ben, we're going to be in person hopefully in August. So this.
Well, it's a brand new computer.
I think you might have it.
I've tried the browser and I have just downloaded the app and changed my privacy settings. So I'm feeling confident, but
Okay.
Now it says host disabled participant screen sharing.
It says your co-host. You should be.
Oh, wait, now it's back. It's back. Oh, wait, this all looks good. We got new stuff happening. How about now? We good?
We're good.
Okay. Oof, that was something else. Okay, I'm very scared to try something different now. It's the first time I've had a new computer in 10 years. You know what? Let's see, just do. I look insane. Okay, so my understanding is you wanted me to give you an update on what's going on with Green Bike. Figure we'd start off by telling we got some new board members. So Matt Sybil is still our chair. He used to be the Chief Planning Officer and Director of Government Relations at UTA. Now he's at Stadler Rail. Our vice chair is Amanda Smith. She's the Chief Legal Counsel of S Power. She used to be the Executive Director of the Utah Department of Environmental Quality. Erin Mendenhall is the mayor, and her proxy is Rachel Otto, who's the Chief of Staff. That's an ex officio role. Whoever is in the mayor's office is automatically on the board. DJ Baxter used to be the Executive Director of the RDA. Jaron Robertson is the new representative from UTA. We have Derek Allen, a local real estate developer. Chase Murdoch owns a small business management firm. Justin Smarts with Penna Powers. John Larson's the city's transportation director. That's another ex officio member. Greg Reed with Select Health, Heidi Goodhart with UDOT, and Jory Johnner with the Wasatch Front Regional Council. So we always have a variety of partners involved. If you want to see any of the specific stuff, I can get into that. We've had some recent partnerships. One was with the LDS Church, and that is they're sponsoring multiple stations on their property, and in exchange for which we give all the people that work in their office towers, which is several thousand, access to 1 penny annual passes for Green Bike. And those stations have turned out to be really popular, connecting their office workers with Front Runner. UTA Hive Pass is a program that I'm sure you're familiar with, but if you didn't know, anybody that lives in Salt Lake City automatically gets half off a UTA pass, but through a grant program with UTA, an annual Green Bike pass is now included with that. And so you have an RFID sticker that shows up on the back of that pass, and you can just activate it. So you have one card that allows you to get on bike share, rail, bus, everything. We've done more partnerships recently with the Volunteers of America's Homeless Youth Resource Center. Private developers have been big lately, CW Urban, Clearwater Homes, Lotus Properties, et cetera. It turns out there is a market for all the new development and having a more like organized structure where you can control the aesthetic. We also give out about $10,000 in free and discounted passes to dozens of community organizations. We also have a community bike where every time that bike is ridden, we give $1 to that organization. We've done the Make-A-Wish Foundation, we've done UMOCA, and now it's Craft Lake City. Well, we've decided as an organization that the housing crisis that's happening in Salt Lake is not in any way our fault, but we do feel some responsibility for it as a nonprofit, and we want to get involved. So we've been doing more affordable housing partnerships. We found that according to Envision Utah, it's just barely behind housing as the primary expense in a family household. So Art Space, they have multiple projects. Each one of those gets a Green Bike station, and everybody that lives there gets free Green Bike included with that. We've done a similar partnership for Give Communities with a station at their location, and EcoBox. All of those are 100% affordable housing or somewhere between 35 to 75% of area median income. We launched our equity program in 2020. That's our Go Pass. And so that's our annual pass is typically $75. Lets you take as many 1-hour rides as you want for a year. We launched this in 2020 so that if you only have, let's say, $5, you can still get access to an annual pass, and you can pay in cash so the unbanked community can participate. And it's really great if you're a partner organization, whether it's Volunteers of America or basically any of the disadvantaged services, you get access to it. And it's just a unique way for people that are at 200% or below the poverty line, which if you look at the statistics is pretty crazy. It's like $54,000 or less for a family of 4. These are some thank you stuff. That's fun. We just started doing this a couple years ago. It's a local leaders winter ride for the Volunteers of America's Homeless Youth Resource Center. If Amy is still on, she is going to get some credit in a second, but if not, we can just acknowledge her general awesomeness. But we basically asked 20 local leaders to do this quick ride around downtown. And for each one that did it, we would donate 50 articles of new winter clothing to the Homeless Youth Resource Center. So we bought 1,000 pieces of, gloves and beanies and ponchos, and we just asked them what they needed, bought all that stuff, and then found some people to ride. And we were trying to just draw attention to the fact that you can bike in the winter, that we've got these great bike lanes, and that there are lots of great organizations to get involved with. So these were some of the riders last year. We're going to be doing this again. Maybe we'll get local celebrity Landon Clark to participate, but right now we had to deal with, just like the mayor and council members and like the president of Key Bank and Fox News and Tribune columnists, just a bunch of lame people. We thought Landon Clark was a little out of our sphere of influence. So, we had to settle, but it was a cool thing. It was cool. We made it all right. One of the things we're really proud of is the maintenance and safety program that we have. We still have our original products from 2013. It's quality stuff. You take care of it, it lasts. We have full-time technicians that receive a living wage and health benefits, 0 fatalities. And with thousands of our users surveyed over the last 9 years, we've got some really great stuff. Less than 1% have ever rated our maintenance as poor, 81% have rated it good, and 18% rated it fair. Less than 1% have rated the cleanliness of our bikes and stations as poor, 89% have rated it good, and 10% rated it fair. Less than 1% have rated our customer service as poor, 82% rated good, and 14% rated it fair. Here's a quick timeline of the last 18 months. So December 2019, we expanded our system by 70%. 2019, we also expanded our service area by 300%, which included a South Salt Lake City station on 21st South. January through March of 2020, ridership was actually up by almost 40% in Q1 until about March 12th when COVID hit. We looked at, it's when Tom Hanks got COVID and they cut off basketball is when everybody stopped riding green bikes. I don't know why that's a connection, but it was. Let's see. Oh yeah, April still through now, we are offering annual passes for only a penny to local essential workers. So we've had 600 people sign up for an annual pass using this promotion. So that's local people that are needed, that need access to transportation. August of last year, we launched our Equity Pass. October, we did that local leaders ride. December, we won a Utah Business Award. January, we did a complete organizational restructure. April, we launched a new website. May to now, my biggest focus is trying to get Select Health to renew their title sponsorship. So every 3 years, we renegotiate our agreement with Select Health and try and convince them to keep it up. But they essentially are contributing about half of our operating budget. And it's because of Select Health and all of our station sponsors that we can offer passes at such a low price point. And then basically now through July, I'm just going to be working on site selection for 2021. And then we're going to be expanding every year between now and 2026 for sure, at least based on the funding that we have. One of the things we've been looking at lately is how our new role in this marketplace. And it's more focused on the affordability aspect. We think that there are definitely people that would ride a scooter that wouldn't ride a bike and vice versa. And while there's some overlap with recreational people, we just want to make sure that everybody understands the different sort of affordability rates. So in 28, if you were taking a product, whether it was a scooter or a bike or an Uber or Lyft or whatever, to get to and from work 5 days a week, it would cost you a green bike 1 penny to $75 a year. In 2018, if you were taking 15-minute rides on a scooter, that would cost you about $1,700. In 2019, they increased their rates so that it would cost you about $2,500 if those were 15-minute rides. If those were 30-minute rides, those increased to $4,400. And then in 2020, they increased it again so that those 15-minute rides get up to $3,500 and 30-minute rides get up to $6,500 a year. And again, it's not to say that there's good or bad. It's that when people say, it's like so I've heard people say, like, why do we even have UTA? We can have just Uber and Lyft. And the problem is that Uber and Lyft can change their prices anytime they want to based on whatever market conditions they determine. Or they could decide that our market isn't valuable enough and just move. whereas the Utah Transit Authority has no interest in operating in Nevada or California or New York. And I'm on a mission to explain to people why it's important that you have multiple options of transportation, private sector, public sector, nonprofit stuff, and how it's all really important. What's going on next? So we currently have over 600 bikes, 50 of them are e-bikes at 47 stations. Each station holds an average of about 23 bikes at a time. We've got enough grant funding through the Wasatch Front Regional Council to add another 300 e-bikes at 15 to 20 new stations over the next few years. And then Ogden is going to be launching this fall and winter with about, I think it's 7 stations and maybe like 70 bikes, something like that. But the reason that, you know, Ogden is getting this whole little system before, let's say, you know, Provo or wherever else, that Ogden applied for these funds through the Wasatch Front Regional Council. And then Ogden is also willing to underwrite the remaining operational expenses that ridership and Select Health won't cover. So in Salt Lake, we get as big a system as we can raise money for. And then it's always this sort of balancing act of figuring out how we're going to raise those private dollars to still maintain the integrity that we want. And when we're determining where to put these next 15 to 20 stations, you know, over the last 5 years, we get pushed in different directions. There's about an equal push for a while for Sugar House and then another one for West Side. And we were getting those from different political groups. And my problem is I have to make all of those groups happy. And that is impossible. So we're still trying to figure out how to do it. Sugar House is totally within the realm of possibility. It's honestly, if either the city or somebody else is willing to sponsor the station, it's like, well, we already have the money for the equipment. We could just put it in Sugar House later this year, or we could put it in next year or anytime they want. But it's just a matter of like, how do we come up with the station stuff? We've got, the sponsorship, because we've got, all of the new locations, we're trying to do this balancing act of either it's for, you know, affordable housing, diversity, or it's being sponsored. And the problem with, like, if we just start putting all the stations in Sugar House and there's nothing on the West Side, is that's gonna, I'm like, I don't know, I just like it better. It's nice. We're just to put it in, I don't know, it seems clean. Like, I feel like I'm just gonna get in trouble. So we're still just trying to figure it out. But yeah, that's a super candid look at what's going on and how we're trying to determine all this stuff. Yeah, if Amy wants to write a check for a bunch of money, you guys can have your Sugar House station this year.
Ben, do you ever work with developers?
Yeah, all the time. We even had a slide, I think, on this presentation that was like, here are the 6 or 7 that we've worked with so far. And what we'll do is when like, it'd be ideal if we knew before they started development, but honestly, once I see construction at a thing, I'll just try and locate a phone number for someone and then tell them like, okay, well, if you're interested, you know, it's $50,000 over 5 years. We'll do $10,000 a year. Everybody that lives in your building will get free green bike. You can put ads on the station, all that kind of stuff. And that's been a big source of revenue. So we have the title sponsorship that covers, you know, like 50% or something. And then those station sponsorships cover another 20 or 30. And then the remaining stuff would be a little bit of foundations and then a little bit of ridership revenue. But those station sponsors really help. One of the things that we're also thinking about doing that I'm excited about is we just got these voltage readers for the e-bikes, which was one of the reasons that we couldn't do an extension on how much time we're offering. So what I'd like to do either this year or next year is make it so that all annual users can take the bikes for up to 10 hours at a time. So if you wanted to go somewhere like where there wasn't a station or anywhere you want, you could get there. Yeah, there's a cable lock on those bikes, so you could lock it up to something temporarily and then just bring it back later. But really try and free up access as much as humanly possible for people. That's it for me, unless anybody has any questions.
That was great, Ben. We're taking all questions in the chat. We've had some Zoom bombing, so
okay, chat
probably part of it. But if people have questions for you, if you could answer them, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Now I'm going to spend the time figuring out how to find the chat.
Thank you. And I think we're done. Is there questions for you in there, Ben? Before I log off. The Jazz are playing.
Oh wait, yep, that's it. I got it. All right.
Okay.
Amy, is Real Salt Lake still a partner in that venture? How much do you need to sponsor station? It is typically, it costs about $25,000 a year, but will go as low as $10,000 a year with a 5-year commitment. Where was the next one?
Suzanne, we can email you the chat. We could email everybody the chat, actually. Thanks for putting all the information in there, Tim.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm having Amy, Judy, the CIP book is online as all the application. Office of the Mayor.
I don't know if you can answer that, Ben, but
Shane, I'd like to see that. Then it says something about people are putting their Grubhub orders in here. I don't know. No.
All right, man. Well, thanks, Ben. Thanks for coming tonight. We look forward to Green Bike and Sugar House.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You guys
Thanks.
have a great night.
Yeah, you too. All right. I think we are meeting adjourned, unless anybody else has anything pressing, but thank you and go Jazz.